Y'all remember Gaelgar, right? Me neither, or at least I didn't for a long time until I suddenly did. You see, I'm a bit of a thinker. What topics do I ponder in my spare time, thou mayst be asking? Well, I think about nothing of actual importance. Oh, and by the way, spoilers for Xenoblade Definitive in this. If you expected a spoiler-free experience, you are at the wrong place, my friend. On the rare occasion that I actually think about something rather than just having that banger from the ice caves from that one Club Penguin Puffle Rescue game echo throughout mine head all day, I think about the most random topics that not even I care about. I will literally spend my entire trip home whenever I'm out thinking about Gaelgar from Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected. Like, who does that? I think back on Future Connected, always thinking about how strange it felt. Playing through Xenoblade Definitive, you're experiencing this 50 or so hour journey, ignoring hundreds of side quests while toppling like thousands of creatures before, killing God or whatever the plot is. But then you boot up Future Connected. If you were like me, you probably had just beaten the base game, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you have nothing going on in your life, so you just say, let's poke my head in and watch the opening cutscene before continuing this later. The opening cutscene is, as expected, just a basic adventure that starts with a conflict that allows you to learn nothing of this ambiguous foe that has just arisen before you. It just hits you with a laser, but then, oh my goodness, you regret your decision to start this new adventure today because you forgot what series you're playing, and holy mother of entirely text-based tutorials. And although you're still overwhelmed by the sea of text, as you begin reading, you just end up more confused because they really say, hey, bud, you know how the combat system in the base game worked? Nuh-uh, asshat. You know the chain attack? Of course you do. We're getting rid of that. Remember the visions? We scooped out your eyes with a spoon, they're gone. You know how Shulk got this super cool looking sword at the end of the game? Bam, get that out of here, you get the dollar store one, and also now he looks like a Kingdom Hearts OC. Within the first 5 minutes, this story manages to disregard many features from the base game and then scrap some supporting characters entirely while replacing some other party members with one character who's way more likable than the original they replaced, and a character who is still really likable but then just unlucky they had to be compared to a fan favorite. Then, on top of all that, they changed many other aspects of the game, like how the locale is just one big area with lots more things to see rather than what was in the base game. They changed the gem system, had much less regular side quests, and they added Pawn Spectre side quests that completing would allow you to gain another Naupon that fights alongside you, and completing all of those would mean you straight up have an army of little fluff balls bouncing around you as you conquest against actual straight up dragons. So there were lots of changes made to the game, and the easiest way to put into words how this all feels to play is just to describe it as odd. And all of these oddities plus some other things are unfortunately why some people didn't really like the story and all it had to offer, but as for me, I liked it, and considering how I just went out of my way to waste some time in my finite life talking about the numerous changes they made to this game, you might assume that I have fond memories with this story, because why would I talk so much about something I don't remember? But I'll have you know that I had to run through this game in multiple aspects just to jog my memory, because it is a very forgettable game. And for quite some time, I would often think about what it was lacking and why I forgot literally every detail about what happened in the plot, and I came to the conclusion that this extra story is lacking in the interesting department because the villains are lame as shit. I mean, I could remember that the main big bad was just secondhand smoke, but I was quite surprised that I let myself forget that this game had another villain, Gael'gar. And I mean, can you really blame me for forgetting he existed? I mean, you probably did too. He's just like Callian without the perfect face and the stoic look in his eyes and you get the point. He's just kind of a bit really lame, you know? Pretty much as soon as you meet Gael'gar, you come to the realization that, oh shoot, he's racist towards the robots. He's relevant to a single story plot point, then he beats it. Oh, I shouldn't have phrased it like that. I mean, like, when people say, like, beat it, loser, or something when they want someone to go away. What I'm trying to say is that he disappears after showing up once, making some hot takes, then giving information to your team. After that, he shows up only one more time in the main story, commits arson, holds a child hostage, before being chased away by a dino beast. Bested and ashamed, he then reemerges only once more in the entire game, and it's in an optional side quest that's entirely text for dialogue. You walk up to the guy and he just starts monologuing how he's still a bad guy, and Melly's all angry because he's, like, now still a racist and stuff, so you end up fighting it. It's the exact same fight as last time, then you go back to, cutscene, and it's all more text, and you're all like, oh boy, I sure could do with not reading this right now, because it's super boring text, and so you just start skipping, and then all of a sudden, he just freaking sends it. And then you're all like, Gael'gar! No! I don't really care that you just jumped because you're kind of a dickhead and all, but I don't really care that you're gone, but I really wasn't reading the dialogue and shit just gone from 0 to 100 real quick, so as you're falling, please repeat why you jumped, because I know you haven't hit the ground yet. We are really high up, so... Yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this bit. So as far as villains go, Gael'gar is by far the most forgettable in the entire series because he just doesn't get enough screen time to mock the party, just as villains like Dixon got towards the end of the main story. Dixon is a good villain to compare Gael'gar to because he isn't the main villain of his story, but rather a small-scale villain, but he's still got tens more cutscenes than Gael'gar got to interact with Shulk and the others, and his death was like part of the main plot, not just something to put next to grocery shopping on your errand list. So personally, I believe it's completely justified for me to forget about this cravenous fiend, even though he's a relatively important character in a side story of a series that I claim to be a fan of. Look, it's really not anyone's fault but his that he's so forgettable, which then begs the question, why do I keep remembering that this guy exists? I'm just trying to take the bus home, and it's all I can think about the entire trip is... I then started on a very long rant that I will be cutting out entirely because I don't want to have to edit all of that. Take care.
Which I don't understand the slightest. He's like really a bad guy, you know? He's uninteresting and he even, looks generic for a character design.